Resident Evil Code Veronica holds a unique place in the iconic survival horror franchise. It marked a transitional moment, bridging the classic fixed camera games and the more cinematic entries. A successful remake of Code Veronica would require not just the modernization of the game, but a deep respect for its strength paired with smart enhancements to bring its elements to a new generation. A remake should retain this aesthetic, but take advantage of modern lighting techniques, spatial audio, and detailed environmental storytelling to deepen the sense of dread and isolation. In my opinion, dynamic weather effects, ambient sounds, and real-time lighting could turn Rockford Island into a place that feels alive and oppressive, enhancing tension without changing the core setting, which was one of my favorite things back in the day when I played this game on the PlayStation 2. The story of Claire and Chris Redfield confronting the Ashford twins is one of the most personal and psychologically layered in the series. A remake should expand character interactions through additional dialogue, optional logs, and modern facial animation to better convey emotion and nuance. Characters like Alexia and Alfred Ashford, while memorable, can be fleshed out even more, with more backstory and psychological depth, avoiding caricature in favor of tragic villainy.
What are you talking about?
You let yourself be captured so you could lead your people to this base!
Claire's journey, in particular, could benefit from added emotional beats and quieter moments of reflection, making her arc more grounded and resonant. Resident Evil 2 Remake's Claire, I still think, was one of the greatest improvements in the franchise, so continuing her story would absolutely be amazing, something sort of like Leon's journey in RE2 and RE4. The contrast between the two would be absolutely beneficial to the future of the franchise. At least that's how I think. The core gameplay of Code Veronica, inventory management, exploration, and puzzle solving remains compelling. However, the controls and camera angles feel very dated, by today's standards that is. Adopting the over-the-shoulder camera system from the RE2 and RE4 remakes would enhance the player immersion while maintaining the franchise's signature tension. Improved combat fluidity, smarter enemy AI, and better checkpointing can modernize the experience without sacrificing difficulty or dread. I still think areas such as the palace could be expanded, and if the developers decide to focus on the survival horror. One of the main aspects of Code Veronica when I actually do go back and play this game is the insane amount of ammunition that this game gives you. I mean, there is no real danger in this game. It's more about just running through it. I believe this is a problem that the original RE4 had. It gave you so much loot that it stopped being a survival horror game. It became a more action-based looter shooter. Which is fine, but I think given the setting of Resident Evil Code Veronica, the gothic sort of survival horror setting, I think the game would benefit more from something like Resident Evil 2 Remake's inventory management and preset ammo location and other items. I think having two separate scenarios would keep the gameplay fresh, and perhaps something like a nightmare difficulty where it randomizes item locations, sort of similar to Madhouse in RE7 or Nightmare in RE3 Remake. When I imagine a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake, the first thing that comes to my mind is how well the immersion could be delivered. The lighting, the volumetric fog. A remake of this game should focus on emphasizing these aspects of the original game. The original game, although had a pretty good setting and pretty good aesthetic, I think would benefit a lot more from correct lighting, something more similar to, like I said before, RE3 or RE2. Despite RE3 being a more action-based, shorter game, I think the setting and the graphics of those two games, those two remakes, would look amazing in Resident Evil Code Veronica. I think the remake should emphasize on these things. One of the joys of Code Veronica is its intricate, interconnected level design. A remake could deepen this with Metroidvania-style progression, where upgrades or key items open new areas and shortcuts. Quite similar to Dark Souls, but not exactly the same way. Additional optional areas, secrets, and side content could reward the exploration and add replayability, making environments more interactive, allowing the players to manipulate objects, trigger alternate routes, or cause environmental damage. This would further modernize the game while reinforcing immersion. In conclusion, a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake has immense potential, not just as a nostalgia project, but as a modern horror masterpiece. I believe the addition of a merchant could be also beneficial, but I don't think that belongs to Resident Evil Code Veronica. It would be interesting to add something new, such as the vending machines. So, if you've played the game before, you've noticed that there's vending machines in the battle mode or somewhere around the house or the residences in the Resident Evil Code Veronica game. So the addition of additional vending machines in replacement of merchants could be a brand new feature that would help modernize the game and make it feel more fresh and new while still retaining a core element from the original game, which would be the vending machine. This wouldn't really disrupt the setting or the immersion, so I think this would be a wonderful idea. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below, because I really like this idea of the vending machines being merchants or upgrade stations, so to speak, for Claire to upgrade herself and her equipment. Additionally, a B scenario where you play as Steve, sort of like in RE2 Remake, I think this would be absolutely amazing to have. It would expand the lore, not only, but it would also add more depth to Steve's character, making his departure a little bit more, sentimental and emotional. In short, I think this game would benefit a lot from an upgrade, making the game a little bit, more fleshed out and perhaps cut on the immense amount of backtracking that the original game had. Now, don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 1, for instance, required a lot of running around and coming up with a strategy and routes, a lot of back and forth between areas. I think that's a core element of the Resident Evil franchise, but there are certain ways of modernizing this aspect, and I think Resident Evil 2 and 4 Remake did a great job at the backtracking, without forcing the player to go through the same area 10 times. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below. I think a graphical upgrade and an expansion of the dialogue and lore and more areas, level design, upgrades, and other really cool things like that would make this game absolutely amazing. I think if they go the route of Resident Evil 2 Remake, this would be absolutely great. But even if they choose to do a more open world-ish, sort of more freedom, action-based Resident Evil game like in RE4, I think that would be okay too. Personally, I don't like melee combat, so I think they should stick to weapons and knives. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your suggestions in the comments down below. What is one thing that you want to see in Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake? Or give me a list. I want to hear all about it, and I will make sure to read them in one of my next videos. Don't forget to leave a like and support my videos by subscribing, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.